mature growing up is enabling me to hold that till the end for you right now, because I'm so excited to talk about what we're going to do. So, let's learn from Joshua and the Israelites. It starts out in Joshua chapter 3, verses 1 to 5, and this is what we read. That early in the morning, Joshua and all the Israelites set out from Shittim and went to the Jordan, where they camped before crossing the river. After 3 days, the officers went throughout the camp, giving orders to the people. When you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the Levitical priests carrying it, you are to move out from your positions and follow it. Then you will know which way to go, since you have never been this way before. But keep a distance of about 2,000 cubits between you and the ark. Don't go near it. And Joshua told the people, now consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. You see, the first thing that you do at moments like this is you consecrate yourself. Now, what does that mean? That's not a word that most of you used in the workplace or in your family in the past week. I know I didn't. What does consecrate mean? It means to set yourself apart, to set something apart for a dedicated use. It's saying, I'm only going to use this for this. This is its primary focus and purpose. Consecrate yourselves, Joshua said. You know, we consecrate ourselves to many things. We consecrate ourselves often to work. We consecrate ourselves to our family. We consecrate ourselves often to a variety of hobbies and causes and other things. But God says, I want you to consecrate yourself to me. This week I was cleaning my van. I like to do that once a year in a very deep way, and generally it needs to be done once a year in a very deep way. And, I pull out all the seats and I, wash it out completely. It took 3 buckets of water just to wash the floor because it was so filthy with dirt and candy wrappers stuck to the floor by dry pop and bubble gum. It was just... And I got done, and I'm sitting in the back of the van, and you've seen our van, it's a big thing, and it's kind of cavernous without the seats in it. And I'm sitting back there, and I'm looking, toward the front, and all of a sudden it hit me, this is a really holy place. Because you know why that van was so dirty? It's because when Terry and I bought it, we consecrated it to the Lord. You see, anytime Dan wants the van, he just calls, and I just say, just leave me another car and use the van. Because this is the Lord's van, it's not ours. And the reason why it was such a mess is because it's taken a lot of kids this year to acquire the fire, to spring blitz, out to the Foreman's every Sunday night. And we load the kids in, and they spill pop and gum and candy wrappers, and it's a mess. And in the process, they're finding God, and powerful things are happening in their lives. And I was sitting there looking at that van thinking, this is a holy place. Why? Because it's been consecrated to the Lord as His, for His use. Anytime He wants it, for whatever. And I love cleaning that van. I love scraping up bubble gum off my floor. I'll do it every day. Consecration is really important. Let's think about why. Verse 5 says, Joshua says, consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. Consecrate yourself, because for 40 years God has been doing one thing, and now God is going to do something else. And you need to pay attention. And we need to consecrate ourselves at Northridge, because for 8 years God has been doing one thing, but now it's time for something else, and we need to pay attention. Also, you look at verse 2 and 3, how He sent the officers through the camp to prepare the people for what was happening. And to prepare them for consecration, what he was saying is, folks, this change is going to require every one of us to do our part, so we need to all be ready. Every one of us needs to be ready. And why? The third reason is because there's a mission to fulfill. There's a mission to fulfill. I look at our mission. Our mission to become a community of Christ followers that love God and express that love to others. That is such a critical mission to be fulfilled in this community. It needs to happen. happen here. And I believe that this next phase, God is going to enable us to fulfill that mission in a deeper and more profound way through this tool that we are going after, that He is calling us to go after, that we've been able to do up to this point. We have a mission to fulfill. And so consecrating ourselves to His purposes are important. You know, in many ways, that's what all of the planting the flag activities have all been about. The dessert fellowships, the sermon series, the devotionals, the giving workshop, the half night of prayer that we did last night. It's all just about consecrating ourselves and making ourselves ready. Just saying, okay, Lord, we're yours. Where do you want us to go? And how do you want this to look? And once we've consecrated ourselves, it's time to commit. Joshua, the next day, he says to the priest, take up the Ark of the Covenant, pass on ahead of the people. So they took it up and they went on ahead of them. And the Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the eyes of all of Israel, so that they may know that I am with you as I was with Moses. Tell the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's waters, go and stand in the river. That's commitment. Bring it into the water. Don't wait for the waters to part. Get in, get your feet wet. Start walking. That's what God called the priest to do. How'd you like to be one of those priests on the front end of this? Where Joshua is saying, you're watching, big logs are floating down the river, and Joshua is saying, okay guys, step in. A house floats down, get in the water. How'd you like to be those guys afterwards who stepped in and saw this happen? So when the priests put their feet in the water was stopped up. The water flowing down it was piled up upstream. It stopped flowing. It piled up in a heap in a great distance away at a town called Adam in the vicinity of Zarethan. And the water flowing down to the Sea of Arabah was completely cut off, so the people crossed over opposite Jericho. The priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord stopped in the middle of the Jordan and stood on dry ground while all Israel passed by until the whole nation had completed the crossing on dry ground. They saw the miracle because they committed. The Ark of the Covenant was the expression of the presence of God, and it was moving toward the goal, and it was just time to go. Go stand in the river, sell out, go after it. And I love what Joshua says earlier. He says, this is how you will know that the living God is among you, that He will drive out the Canaanites, the Hivites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Jebusites. I did better on the first service with those names. See, the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord of all the earth will go to the Jordan ahead of you. And as soon as the priests who carry the Ark of the Lord of all the earth set foot in the Jordan, its waters flowing downstream will be cut off, and it'll stand up in a heap. And Joshua says, you'll know it when you commit and God does it. So, we're at the point of commitment here. This is how you will know that God is with you and when He's with Northridge, is when we make our commitment. For some of us, this is maybe the biggest step of faith you've ever taken. You've never really put it out there like this before, and I got to tell you, you're in for something that God's going to do. For other of you, this is old hat, You've been through this before, and you said, we've experienced this, and you can't keep us back from this. Others of you have prayed about it, and maybe God hasn't put anything that said, this just isn't time for you to give. That's okay. How many of you have one of these? I hope everybody should have one of these. If you don't, raise your hand and the ushers will give it to you, because we really want everybody to have one. Because what I want everybody to do today is, for those of you who have it, it's just a blank sheet of paper. If you don't have it, raise your hand. We'll give it to you. And what I'd like you to do is, maybe you've already given your commitment or something to accompany your commitment. I'd like you to write the prayer that you want to accompany the commitment. If you don't have a commitment to give, to write your prayer of your desire for what you want God to do at Northridge. Because it's the power of God that's going to move us forward. So we want everybody to pray. And then I'd like to invite everybody to, when the time comes and we ask for the commitments, to come and drop this prayer and along with your commitment card up in the basket. But you know what? We're going to have some fun first. And I want to give you time because the kids are going to come in, the youth are going to come in. But I want to give you a couple minutes just to write a prayer to God.